So let's talk about how to squat 4 plates or 180 kilos or 400 pounds. So I want to talk about this because I see a lot of confusion on what it actually takes. Now, my perspective is not one purely of strength, because my whole philosophy is one of building muscle, as you can see, as the main priority, okay, improving your physique, being healthy, while at the same time not being stuck with boring bodybuilding practice, having challenge, having a feeling of continuous progress, because that's what makes you passionate, consistent, and that's what actually builds your muscle. And I'm the living proof of this, although I've been working with many people over the years. So, squatting 4 plates. Now, I have real experience with this. So I have a video somewhere around here of me doing a 215 kilo squat. I should mute this. Let's play it again. So this is almost 5 plates. So I've been here. I know what it takes. I know what it doesn't take. And so let's start from what's typically associated with doing this. Now, this is important because when you learn to be a master of everything in training, you have fun, you are able to switch goals and yet stick to the key principles of building a physique, you are going to be the one who sticks with training for a lot longer, learns a lot of cool stuff like doing squats like this. So what you don't need to build a 4-plate squat is, for example, very complex programs, complex rep schemes with very intricate logic. You don't see a correlation from that to squats. Or you don't need a complex long-term plan, like a complex periodization. And I'm going to explain you why, okay? I explain to you why. So you don't need those things, because in practice, it's much simpler. When you look at how at the strongest people, when you look at people, and even my situation, being able to improve year over year for more than a decade, and replicated this on clients even at a very advanced level, let alone people at the intermediate level or before. You always see this. The strongest people, and this is being quite strong, have muscle more than anything. Muscle is the number one thing that matters in order to build a strong squat or do anything cool with your body. Muscle is the key. So really, building a 4-plate squat is simple. First, you need to focus on building muscle. Second, which is the second point, a little extra, is that you practice the squat. And that's it. So this builds the efficiency in the movement, but this is the engine. Don't get fooled thinking that just by doing some squats is gonna do strength training and therefore you're gonna magically get to a 4-plate squat. You're rarely gonna see any people squatting like this with chicken legs. You're not gonna see them, okay? So this is simple. Now, what should you do in practice? In practice, building muscle, the key to build muscle is training to failure or close, okay? Training to failure. So if you're interested, this is key to build muscle. Like, if our goal is to build our physique, this is something that we should do anyway, hence the nice overlap. But I want to shift your perspective in the sense that even if your goal was strength, you still needed muscle as the core engine. So you do this by training to failure. Building muscle is very simple. You train to failure, and then it's how much muscle do you want? Well, it depends on how much training you do. The second point is that you practice the squat. Now, you don't need much here. Actually, if you just do 3 to 6, okay, let's say 3 to 6 sets per week, that's more than enough to build a very elite squat, because this is all the practice you need to make all this muscle efficient. The key is always in the muscle, okay? I told you, this is not a video on some complex scheme. This is not a video on the squat technique. You can find plenty of videos on YouTube. It's pretty simple. You go up, you go down. Here we make things simple. What you actually need is very simple, is muscle and practice, especially muscle. So if you wanted to look at an example of what this looks like, is, for example, you do 10 or 20 sets per week to failure or close. So this is hard training. You need hard training in order to improve. Okay, we don't skim over that. We keep things simple, we make them fun with challenges, but it still needs to be like this at the foundation. So this is the hypertrophy sets. This is where you build muscle. You do those 10 or 20 sets for your main leg muscles, okay, to build your squat. Those are your quads and your glutes. And there you go. And the second thing that you do for your practice squat is let's actually write this here, 3 to 6 sets per week. You could do like 1 to 5 reps. Okay, we are practicing heavy squats. After all, we want to squat for plates, right? And you don't even need to go to failure, because to practice strength, failure is not that productive. I'm gonna explain why in another video. And that's it. Now, on this end, my pro tip, of course, as usual, is to just use some variation to keep it fun over time, okay? You don't just do your regular, for example, like 3 by 12. There's many ways to make this fun, to make this challenging, and I love training like this. I train like this on myself. I train other people like this, and that's why the one thing people say about my training is that they just love it. They're surprised by how fun building muscle can be, and that's what keeps you doing it for years. So this is truly my secret, actually, like to train and build my physique in the long run. This is truly my secret, like, is doing stuff like this. Instead of bodybuilding training, I learn to achieve milestones like a 4-plate squat, or learning muscle ups, or just making new PRs in every single exercise in the gym. But for this video, we're talking about a 4-plate squat, and so it's very simple. First, your focus is on building muscle, and I truly mean this. Like, if you build muscle, enough muscle, a 4-plate squat will be automatic with just tiny practice. Like, this is 90%, 95% of what you need to do. Like, if you take a random guy with a ton of muscle, you make him practice squats for like 3 months, he will likely get here a lot faster than someone doing a lot of complex rep schemes. Like, this is the future of training. Simple, effective, and the focus shifts from the technical side to the consistency side. And that's what I decided to specialize on. And one final thing, soon, very soon, this is important, I'm gonna start making, for every member of my school community, you can find the link in the description, basically a personalized, made by me video on the key thing limiting your progress. Like, whatever your situation is, and this is what I think makes it precious, whatever your specific situation is, I will be looking at it, looking at your main problem that you feel, man, if I only solve this, and I will make a personalized video for you. Of course, since it's one-on-one personalized, I can only make it for a limited number of people, so I won't be able to do this forever. But if you're interested, I will be doing this for every new member in the school community. You join, you just fill a form so that I know your goal and your situation, and I will record a free video for you.